This next guest we have on is John Adego, and I brought him on because of Miss Please in the meditation as well as myself and some other things. And his story, the book is called East Meets West. It's a very interesting book, and I would like for him to come on and explain the merits of the book, about the meditation, the whole philosophy behind it and everything, and why this book is so important for our readers and listeners to have in their hand. And I do have a copy, a couple of copies for anyone who's going to call in today at 702-731-1230.
Got it right.
You forget you. and today's show is brought to you by Miss Please and Mr. Z. It's real tough. I got you. How you doing, John?
Very well. How are you, Mr. C?
I'm fine. I'm sitting over by a lovely lady by the name of Miss Please, and over to my left is I have Jason Stoffel. He's running for, as you heard, for Department S here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Tell us about yourself, sir, please.
Yes, well, my name is Jamado, and I've written a book titled East Meets West, which is the story of 13 men and women who were instrumental in bringing and popularizing the philosophy of the East and meditation to the West. As I'm sure you're aware, but prior to the 1960s, meditation was virtually unknown in Europe and America. If it was considered at all, it was a rather obscure practice. Mm-hmm. And now it's become a household word, and it's this influence of the Eastern spiritual philosophies and religion has really had a profound effect on the West, and that's what the book is about.
Don't you think back in, you said the 60s, that the Beatles had something to do, like, was it George Harrison or was it John Lennon that had a lot to do with the meditation?
Well, actually, there was the teacher by the name of Maharishi who introduced transcendental meditation. And when he came to London, at one point, the four Beatles actually, along with several other personalities like Mia Farrow and Donovan and several others, went to India. And there were pictures taken, and there was a lot of publicity generated. Because at that time, those people were very big in the entertainment business. And when they came back, they were giving interviews about Eastern mysticism and meditation and what they experienced from it and the well-being that they experienced. So meditation became pretty much a household word at that time.
Oh, okay. So the reason, let me see, you have a couple of questions we have here. It says, question, you have written a book about teachers and philosophers about which the public has very little information. How did it come about that you learned these stories, sir?
Well, when I graduated from college, I found myself often in feeling vaguely uneasy about my life and having a sense that I wanted more, that there was something missing. And I began to look and read books, and I encountered some philosophers, one by the name of Gurdjieff, who was an Armenian, and Ouspensky, who was Russian, and several others. And I began to find groups that studied this philosophy, and I began to study it myself. And then I met several other groups, and they were independent, but I discovered that they had a body of knowledge in common. And that motivated me to research who their teachers were, their founders, and who their inspiration were, the teachers in the East. And it was 30 years of that kind of research that resulted in East Meets West, where I actually traced the lives of these people and how they interacted with one another.
Okay. And with this other question, it says, with all the pulls and distractions in our busy life, is there really a place for wisdom and spiritual practice in the workplace, sir?
Well, we had better hope so, because today, as we know, an uplift, a conscious impulse is very much needed. Men and women need a reprieve. They need to be able to step away from their problems and their constant activity and dive deep within themselves from time to time during the day or during the week. Touch a place that's their own self, where they experience their own well-being and their own happiness and their own sense of fulfillment.
Gotcha.
And if they do that, they will bring that perspective back and have a much richer everyday life.
Okay, good. Also, too, again, can you tell us, the audience, who you are, sir, and the name of your book again, please?
My name is John Adago, title of the book is East Meets West. It's available on Amazon and in bookstores. I can also be reached at thejourneyback.net is my website, thejourneyback.net. But the easiest way to get the book is through Amazon. It's available in paperback and also in ebooks.
Okay, go ahead, Miss Please.
John, thank you for coming on the show. I'm Miss Please. I know that you talked a lot about, you mentioned or touched on finding that space and making that connection. But for our listeners that don't meditate or are not familiar with meditating, can you give a few steps, simple steps on how they could start meditating? Because some people think that you have to go to a class, you have to be in this quiet room that has, from what I've seen here, you have to have an ambience set up before you can meditate, and I don't necessarily believe that that's 100%. So could you share with our readers some easy techniques?
To some extent, I would say that although the technique is simple, it does require some instruction. The Maharishi believed that, and he was the man who popularized what was called transcendental meditation, that if people, men and women, are simply given a simple technique, that they will be able to find a peaceful, still place within themselves. So the technique he taught was the repetition of a sound, a Sanskrit sound, a mantra that is repeated for a few minutes, that by devoting one's full attention to that sound, the other thoughts and emotions that are running around and carrying us through the day begin to subside, and we leave kind of the superficial aspect of ourselves and dive a little bit deeper within. As far as how one would start, my suggestion would be to find someone who was a little bit further along, that had some knowledge. Like anything else, if you have someone that teaches you, your progress is going to be much quicker.
Okay. We have another guest as well, too, right, Ms. Please, that called in, and we're going to get it on. And we apologize. We had a time mix-up today. But what would you like our audience to know off the cuff that you'd like us to know about East Meets West and about you and about the meditation whole aspect in a short synopsis, sir?
What I would say is that these men and women built a bridge across a cultural divide. You had this tremendous gap between the East and the West, and these seekers in the West and these teachers in the East bridged that gap and brought to the West a knowledge, an ancient knowledge, that for millenniums had only been available to a few. Now it's available in America and in Europe and Australia. And men and women that are seeking to perhaps deepen the understanding of their lives, it would be useful for them to become familiar with some of these teachers.
Okay.
And the book is East Meets West. It's available on Amazon. My name is Jamado. My website is thejourneyback.net.
Before I let you,
very much.
No, don't go just yet, sir. I want to ask you one question. What do you feel about age? About meditation, can you be a young person or older person? When it comes, is a young mind too young to meditate, or is it an old mind too young to meditate, or middle age? What do you think about the age aspect, sir? I would say that certainly I've seen young people whose parents meditated begin at the age of adolescence, 12, 13 years old, and take to it quite well and actually help them in their lives as high school students. And certainly at any time after that, and I've known many retired people that started meditation after retirement. This is a tool that's available to men and women at any stage of their life. It's something that they can turn to enrich their lives in every aspect. In every aspect, huh? So
every aspect.
So does meditation have to be religious based, or can it just be a neutral aspect, sir?
It is a neutral aspect. These teachers from the East in this book, that what they said was the religion that you were born into is a gift from God. And there's great value in religion, and they encourage people to continue to practice their religion, even though they might be studying philosophy or picking up a meditation. And as you probably know today, with the popularity of meditation, virtually every religious tradition has revived the form of the practice. Meditation and contemplation have always been a part of spiritual pursuits.
Okay, and please let us know who you are again. We truly appreciate you being on the show today, and I would love to have you back again. So tell us, you're the author of East Meets West, right? Is that correct, sir?
Yes, my name is John Hidalgo. The title of the book is East Meets West, the remarkable men and women that built a bridge that connected the East and the West. The book's available on Amazon in ebook and in paperback, and my website is thejourneyback.net. And thank you very much for the opportunity to speak to your audience.
Oh, I'm going to be speaking
really
again. Yeah, I appreciate it because I'm going to do a 6-month follow-up on that.
Thank you for joining our show. It's been a pleasure.
I would very much welcome that opportunity. Feel free to call me anytime.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, John.
Thank you both.
You're welcome, sir.
And good night.
Good night,
good
to you as well.
night.